All right, episode blah blah blah. Fathers of the Grind. How's everyone doing? Are we recording? No.
We are recording, and you're not introing the show because you're trash.
Hey, boys and girls, welcome, Fathers who Grind. This is Dan.
Can I ask you a question? Why are you even on the show? You're not a father, and clearly you've never grinded before.
Well, listen. First of all, I have a cat, so
you grind cats?
No, I am the father of the cat. So,
who is your daddy? I am your father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
Welcome to Fathers of the Grind. This is episode 168 with your host. Are you serious right now, Eli? Elijah T.
Yes, sir.
Are you freaking serious right now?
Yes,
He heard me introing. Nice underwear shot, Eli. Nice. Nice. All right, so anyways, back to the intro.
you have to censor that. You're gonna have to censor that.
He had underwear on, so I think we can get away with that.
Okay.
This is Father's Grind Podcast, episode 168. This is a E3 special. We are going to cover all things E3. I didn't watch jack crap because I don't give a crap about video games.
Jeez, what a surprise.
I don't even know why I do this podcast anymore.
Derek, this is my surprise face.
Yeah. Did you watch it? Because your little Sony pony ass didn't have PlayStation doing jack crap the whole time.
I only watched the Xbox conference.
So you're
I'm just kidding. I watched all of them.
All right. I did watch.
That's the joke.
I did watch Xbox.
Okay.
And I watched Bethesda, which I found to be boring, but we'll get into that later. And then I just kind of waited for all the other conferences to be shown, and then I would go see what games were announced. So I don't know if the actual shows were bad, but I just went to see what games were relevant at the time. So, All right. So first thing Tim wants us to discuss is pre-E3 news. I find this probably most of these are going to be boring, so we're going to go through them real fast. But if you have anything you want to add, like the first one, I imagine you're going to have something to say, and that's Death Stranding was announced. It has a release date of November 8th. What are your feelings on Death Stranding?
Well, my feelings are just like yours, high energy, just really enthusiastic, just really pumped. Not as pumped as you, obviously, but you know. No, I mean, come on, dude. Did you not watch the trailer, the 8-minute trailer?
I did not, but I did see that there's a ladder that's going to revolutionize gaming. So
yes, super ladder, super amazing ladder, the best ladder of all ladders.
No, but being serious with Death Stranding, I know it's cool to hate on this game, and then I also see people over defending it. Yeah, Kyle Neely, you're one of them. I think this looks stupid, but because who's making it, I can get over how dumb it looks and have faith that it's somehow going to end up being cool. When you take a look at a game, like even just the Metal Gear franchise in general, it's absolutely crazy stupidity,
it's bonkers. It's completely bonkers.
But I found myself really enjoying even the stories of most of the Metal Gear games. Like even Metal Gear Solid 5, when I first started playing it, I couldn't get into it, and then I ended up playing it the following year and getting really hooked, and it's one of my favorite games of this generation. And one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite is clearly the gameplay is superior to most games. But it was also because at the end, there was, your typical Metal Gear twist. And I thought it was, while the overall story wasn't that great, I thought the ending was really good. I thought the setup and how he delivered it was pretty badass. And especially nowadays because I feel like we've almost seen everything when it comes to twists. Like it's really hard to confuse your audience nowadays because we've seen a lot. And he still did a good job of doing that, adding that little twist at the end. So because of who's making this game, who's behind it, I'm probably going to I'm going to buy it, or Tim. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Tim's not going to buy it. So I'm going to probably buy it day one.
Is Tim not interested in it?
I'm sure he is, but I know Metal Gear Solid 5 is actually how him and I started game sharing, because we weren't like friends or anything, and I saw him posting how he wished he could play Metal Gear Solid 5 or something like that. But I didn't realize it was just because he was a cheap ass. I thought it was because, poor guy has 27 kids. He has no money.
Right.
I'll buy the game, and then him and I can game share. And that's how we started game sharing. And then I found out, this boy's got money. He's just cheap. He just decides what he's not willing to pay money for.
What a Jew.
He is. He's a Jew. And so that's how we started. So I'm guessing he probably is in the same boat where it's like he knows he'll like the game, but I doubt he's like dying to play it day one. But I think I'll end up liking it. But again, I fall in between. So I'm not a hater, but I don't think I think people that are defending it, like they've seen how great this game, like, come on.
Well, I mean,
it looks like utter chaos and trash for the most part. But it's the faith that you have in the guy who's making it.
Well, the thing with Kojima is obviously he's a weirdo.
Yeah.
And we all know he's a weirdo because Metal Gear Solid has a lot of weird stuff in it. But what's exciting about this is it's Kojima unhinged. Like, Konami's not there to, crack the whip or whatever was going on at the time. Obviously, nobody actually knows. It was all just hearsay and rumors and so on and so forth. So to know that he started his own company, Sony said, hey, we're going to just throw money at you and just go just crazy. Do what you want to do. Do what you do best. Like, this has probably been sitting in his brain forever. Like, he's probably been thinking of all these ridiculous ideas, and Konami just didn't want to do that. They're just like, make more Metal Gear.
Does a lot of drugs, and then whatever he feels at that moment is he's like, it's gonna sell because I'm me. Like, I think he's self-aware of like how amazing he is to everybody. So he has an ego. Cool. So I think he knows he could literally just throw anything out there. Sure. I think as long as he nails gameplay, he's fine on story, because no matter how garbage and crazy it is, people are going to defend him and be like, "Oh, it's amazing. I mean, he's an artist." No, you're an idiot, and you're just worshiping a moron.
I would call him an artist because the things he makes is interesting, but
look, here's the thing. What I think makes him a genius is the stuff that he did with technology that he would throw into the games. Like the whole having to unplug your controller and plug it into port 2, or I don't remember which one it was. I think it was 3. But I killed a bunch of dudes, and I'm like walking through this like river where all the people I killed are like coming towards me and walking towards me, and I'm like, this literally lasted forever, and I'm like, why? And I'm getting pissed, and then I looked it up online, and I'm like, oh, it's because I killed all these people. Like, he was punishing me for killing all these people.
That's right.
So that's the genius to me of him, is the way he can use technology or use the way you play a game against you. Like, he thinks outside the box.
Right.
So again, I'm excited for it from that point of view of like, what is it going to be? But I'm not excited by what he showed me. He showed me nothing. And I think...
well, he's shown you things. It just doesn't make sense because, again, like he's a weirdo. Everything is very like vague and like complex, and it doesn't make sense until you play the game. And even when you do, it's probably still not really going to make sense.
Yeah.
And people are just going to discuss things on the internet after the fact and theories and so on and so forth. But it's going to visually be really interesting for sure.
Yeah. So I'm excited. We'll see. But it's not a big deal. All right. So the next one.
Kind of a big deal, but
it's not a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal to losers. The next one is Pokemon Sword and Shield, releasing November 15th. I do not care. I hope you have nothing to add on to this. Do you play Pokemon?
Listen, they showed a couple screenshots of 2 new Pokemon, and one's an electric corgi. So he's like a little dog, and he has electric type.
But we stayed on Death Stranding too long, so I think we can move on.
Listen, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it, but although actually I do want to share one thing that's actually kind of hilarious. So you know how there's like 800 Pokemon? So apparently in this one, they're not all going to be available. Apparently there's literally just going to be a set amount, and like you cannot catch them all, which is literally the catchphrase of the series. So I think that's kind of funny because everyone's furious. And by everyone, I mean like children.
I was going to say, and by everyone, you mean losers.
Well, I saw on Twitter because they were like, "Oh, look, these 2 new Pokemon," and then literally every like response to that was just everyone being furious about them not having all the Pokemon, and it was funny. So,
all right,
I thought it was funny. Well,
no, I'm not saying it's not funny. I just don't care, and we stayed too long on Death Stranding, so I'm moving on. All right, next one is Blizzard cancels StarCraft FPS to focus efforts on the next Diablo and Overwatch game. All right, I don't care about Diablo, and Overwatch is like okay, and I don't care about Blizzard. So, do you care? Because I don't care.
I mean, they did it before, so I mean, when I heard that, I wasn't surprised. They canceled that shooter back in the day. I think was supposed to be on 64, and then to the next console, they just kept pushing it, and then eventually it was canceled. So I don't even remember what it was called, but it was a StarCraft related game. So apparently they hate StarCraft.
Apparently. So, or they just know that Diablo and Overwatch are guaranteed successes.
Sure.
All right, next is Destroy All Humans getting a full remake. I didn't care about this game, so I don't care about the remake. Are you seeing a common theme here? Like, I'm a more positive person now, but when it comes to video games, I absolutely hate 99% of them now.
It obviously makes all the sense in the world that you and I are doing this right now, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're more interesting than Tim, in my opinion.
I mean, sure. I guess that's subjective, but...
Hey, guys, my name's Tim, and I'm going to throw in some boring nonsense. Like, hey, guys, the Switch is really good. Nobody cares, Tim.
Can we just take a minute to talk about his gnarly beard? I mean, what's up with his gnarly beard?
I really, I know I went through a midlife crisis. Clearly, last year was a midlife crisis, and I'm wearing jeans. I just got made fun of today. A guy asked me, whoa, I'm not checking you out, but did you paint those on? Basically the same thing Sasan says to me. So I'm going through, I mean, I'm not hiding anything from the ladies. They can literally see everything.
All right.
And so the next thing is going see-through with the tight pants.
Sure.
But so clearly I've gone through a midlife crisis. So the point I'm trying to get to is I'm pretty sure Tim's beard is a sign of him either entering into it. And it's not just the beard. The beard, okay, whatever. Guys grow facial hair when they're ugly. But it's a fact. It's
so then I'm the best looking guy here then. I barely have any facial hair.
Oh my God, Eli. That is dead sexy, bro.
Speaking of no facial hair.
Or body hair.
Or hair at all, so.
He's so hot.
Who's really the best looking one in this episode right now?
Eli always wins. So his beard alone, oh my gosh. His beard alone is not the reason I say he's going through it. It's the fact that he's got this beard, this long beard, and then he's wearing all these I'm 18-year-old rapper, white boy rapper hats. He's trying. It just feels like hashtag try.
And he's not bending them either. He's doing this, how they're flat.
No, it's totally a white dude trying to be black, and it's totally a 40-year-old trying to be an 18-year-old.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, good. So glad. Oh, there.
Oh, sure. Now you're bending it.
Yeah. Don't even try.
Hold on, guys. Let me go out. Be right back. I'm gonna go bend all my hats.
So let's do a little rap right now. Now, Tim, can we just do the show? I want to do a little rap for my crew. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going through a midlife crisis. I think you and I are the better options. I just need you to have a kid so you can be a father. Either that, or we have to change the name of the show, which I think we talked about before and we never did it. But yeah, Nobody cares about Destroy All Humans getting a full remake. So thanks for adding that to the notes, Tim. Next, Destiny 2 news, cross-save for all platforms. I think that's actually pretty cool. Shadowkeep DLC, September 17th. Base game will become free to download and play. It is coming to Google Stadia, I don't know.
Stadia.
I don't even care.
You clown.
So do you care about Destiny 2 at all, Daniel?
I stopped caring because, for me, I like the world, I like the look of it, like the characters and everything, but like, I'm tired of games where it's like, look at all this customization, but like 99% of the game is in first person, so you can't actually see anything. So this is stupid. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So
okay, I understand that. The looks doesn't really matter because you can't see your character.
Right.
But I still do like to upgrade my character and things like that. My biggest problem with, and I'm going to speak out of both sides of my mouth because I understand why they do it and then why I don't care for it. My biggest problem with like Destiny 2 and a lot of these games is because they want you to keep playing, they make everything so freaking annoying to do stuff. Like you have to do a research paper online to figure out what's the next step to unlock this, to get to this, to unlock this. And it's like, for me, especially where I'm at, I just want to turn on a game, shoot some enemies, get some loot, and see my character progressing. And again, I understand why they don't just allow that, because they know if you just did that, you would hit the endpoint really, really, really fast, and then you would just quit the game. And they want you to stay in the game forever.
Well, they want to bloat the game with like those things, like doing your dailies and like all these little side quests that don't actually have any value to them. It's just kind of going from point A to point B, shoot some things, so on and so forth. So, I mean, I don't know. I wish Destiny would be more of an RPG, like kind of like worlds being attached and like cities that you can kind of like be in, and then you leave the city and then you're out, like, you know, fighting things and so on and so forth. But also give me the option of being in third person. Like if you're going to have like this emphasis on, you know, the way that you look and customizing your dude, then give me the option to switch my perspective. If I want to play in third person and look at my character and look how badass I am, then, you know.
Well, and again, the problem is maybe if they did like competitive, strictly first person, and then like your PvE or solo runs, you can choose to play in third person, because you would have a lot of people. Come on, you got to show it. Show your body.
No.
Show your body, boo.
It's the new Death Star.
Yeah, that's my shirt.
It's the new Death Star is Eli's body.
Hey,
listen, I just want to chime in and say you guys are moving incredibly slowly. Why are you not already to the Square conference? How are we still in this opening
Because
session?
when you actually listen to the show, you'll see that him and I talked about Death Stranding for way too long.
Okay, so I can
then we got caught up on Midlife Crisis Tim.
Yeah, I heard that part, which was actually really funny. I was gonna turn it on right then, but I wanted to hear what you said. That was actually quite funny. How about we start the show at Midlife Crisis Tim? Everything before that we can just
there you go. There you go.
Welcome to episode 16. I'm just kidding. We won't do that to you. I'm going to move on real quick to Google Stadia news because you brought it up. I thought that's interesting. They finally announced the pricing for this. If you pay $129, you get 3 months of Stadia for yourself, 3 months for a friend. You get a controller. You get a Chromecast Ultra to then cast it up to your TV. A few other extras, I think, here and there. You get, let's see. Oh, I guess that's it. Then you just get access to the platform for those 3 months. They do have a bunch of launch games that they've announced. I won't go through that whole list. It's a whole bunch of games that are already out, as well as several that are going to release, like Doom Eternal and stuff like that. Yeah. They're all supposed to go to the Stadia. They are planning to launch a free base version of Stadia in 2020. So if you're interested but not sold yet, just hold on. Next year, there's going to be a base version of some kind where I'm sure they'll have old games for free to play, at least a certain selection of them. So just hold on. There's a free version coming. But if you want to jump in early, and if you've got at least a 35 megabytes per second download speed, they're saying you should be able to get 4K and 30 frames per second, or is it 60 frames per second? And then if you have, I think it's 10 Mbps minimum, to at least get 720p, something like that. So those are the kind of the specs they were releasing. So it seems like most people with a decent internet connection should be able to play this. I'll believe it when I see it. But there you go. There's your Google Stadia details. And it launches this November, by the way.
Here's
So
the thing.
it's just strictly streaming. You can't download.
You have to have some sort of Chromecast device. So it's almost like buying a little tiny console plug-in for your TV.
So here's the Achilles heel of this stupid box. Your internet goes out, you can't play games.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's really dumb.
I think...
And I wonder if, and I'm sure there's some law or rule against this, it doesn't make sense to just strictly stream it. So I would have to have the feeling that they don't allow downloading of games for some reason. Like, I don't know if it's like an ownership reason or something like that, because it would make sense for these services to be like, hey, yeah, you can stream, but you can also download the game. And as long as you're a member or whatever, you have the subscription.
I think they'll do that. Maybe
so
not.
I don't understand
soon.
why you would sit there, because think about it. Like, you're launching this, and what is the biggest thing a consumer is going to be concerned with? What's the biggest thing? Because the price is fine. It's going to be what Daniel just said about if it goes out, I lose any access to video games. But it's also going to be, am I going to be playing and then every 5 seconds have to deal with buffering? Or will the picture, like, for instance, I was watching E3 crap the other night. And
just on YouTube or whatever?
It was streaming live.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was perfect 4K, and then other times it was like blurred 720p.
Yep.
And I have a good connection. So
I do think there'll be some download options, but probably not this year with launch. But think about what Netflix and Amazon have done with download options for some of their content, especially content they own the rights to.
There has to be something that's there.
Well, it'd have to be like a limited thing. Like, hey, you can be offline for, let's say, 24 hours without needing to authenticate your membership. But once you're offline for a certain amount of time, then you have to get online to at least authenticate, if not to stream. So
maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why they don't want download.
There could be something at some point. But I think this is interesting. I'm glad there's going to be a free version. I'm not really ready to drop $130 on this just yet. I really want to see how it works.
Think there's any benefits to me. I haven't done any research, but I already have a computer that, from what I've been told, that I could even do 8K, not at ultra settings, but I could do 8K for most games.
Like 8K, 120 frames per second is kind of the next leap, I think.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be able to do 120. I could probably do 8K at like.
Oh, and by the way, one of the new specs that everyone's talking about for even less technical people like myself, who's not super technical, they're starting to talk more and more about refresh rates. And one of the new ones I keep hearing is dynamic refresh rates. Refresh rates.
That is important.
I totally agree. It's just one of those things that most of us, we've learned, okay, first it was bits. Remember back in the day it was 64 bits. This is 32 bits. And then it became, there's a whole bunch of different things it became. But then it became the resolution. It's 720. Now it's 1080. Now it's 4K. HDRs. And then HDR became a big thing. And so now I think refresh rate is kind of the new addition to those things that we have to consider. Well, some of you tech heads out there have already been looking at this for years. Refresh rate's been a big part of TV purchases. And I get that. I'm just saying for most of the public, and I myself included, that's a relatively new thing to consider when you think about how strong a system or now streaming platform is. But yeah, so Google Stadia sounds interesting, but I'm not totally sold on it. I won't be talking about it this fall, I don't think. I'll be waiting till it's either reviews incredibly well and people are like, there's no reason not to do this, then maybe I'll jump in. Or if they have games that are just impossible to pass up that are now free to stream once you subscribe, or if they release a free version next year, I'll give it a shot then. But anyway, more excitingly, speaking of 2020, the Uncharted movie's coming in 2020, starring your favorite and mine, Tom Holland.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. He was also in that little movie, The Impossible, with Ewan McGregor and Naomi Watts when the tsunami hits Thailand, as a kind of a young kid actor. Dude is a really good actor. He just seems quite young and baby-faced for that role. So I'll be curious to see how far back in the Nathan Drake lore are they going.
Did he web sling in that movie also? Or
yeah, I hope
did
so.
He save all the citizens?
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay. I hope so too.
Yeah. So that's coming out next year. We'll see how that goes. Team 17 announced Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair is coming out. At first I thought, oh, great. A mediocre 3D platformer is getting a sequel. Awesome. But this time they're making it a 2D game with kind of really charming Rayman-esque graphics, and it's coming to all systems later this year. So I wonder if they might have found a sweet spot with that charming cartoon look and feel.
I'm surprised you even threw this in here, Tim.
Just wanted to mention it.
I played that game, and I don't know. The vibes were all right. It's just the camera was just super wonky.
That's what I heard.
The camera just made it really not fun to play at all.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Darksiders Genesis. So I saw this was announced, and I thought, that's kind of soon after Darksiders 3. That's interesting. But then when I watched the video of it, it looks a lot more like a Diablo than a Darksiders game.
Yeah.
So it's got that isometric action RPG vibe to it. I'm assuming it plays similar to a Diablo or a Torchlight, something like that.
So does it take place between the fourth and the third one, or
I am not sure. I didn't do any kind of lore research on it, but the lore of the Darksiders games is interesting.
Yeah.
So I feel like Genesis could be kind of cool. Maybe Genesis is how it all started, I would imagine, with how it's titled. So who knows? Who knows?
That makes sense.
And last but not least, for our pre-E3 news, PS5 had a few details that they announced officially from some of the, I forget, some technical VP, somebody or other. They did confirm they're going to have full backwards compatibility, so that way when you're ready to move to the upgrade to the next console, you can, but you don't have to. You can continue to play your PS4 library, and when you do switch over, you don't have to repurchase those. So they're at least thinking a little more consumer friendly, which is good.
What does that mean, though?
Full backwards compatibility.
But I mean, when you're saying full, like, do they mean like fully with all PS4 games? Are they talking about all the way back to PlayStation 1? Are they talking about the PlayStation Store, like all the download games?
I assume that means PS4.
Yeah.
And then whatever's in not Game Pass. What's their thing called for PS3?
PlayStation Now.
Now, I assume that Now will be a service that's still on 5.
Sure.
I would guess.
I just think the wording there is a little like, you know, they're kind of like tricking you a little bit, like full backward. Like, all right, if you're going to throw out the word full,
what does that mean?
Means everything. So.
Yep. So it will be backwards compatible in some way, shape, or form. It's going to include a solid state drive, which is something that the new Xbox system, which we'll get to, is talking about too. The big thing there is the load speeds. They're saying that you get from menus to screens to games to the next area of games way quicker because of this SSD that they're including. This to me seems like something that should have been in consoles at least 1, if not 2 generations ago, because SSD is not a new technology.
It was like way more expensive back then, though.
It was, you're right. So maybe now it's
way more expensive. Yeah.
Maybe now they can actually cost effectively fit it into their systems, but
yeah.
But they did confirm it's not coming out this fiscal year, which wraps up in April of 2020. So for both Xbox Next, or I think they're going to call it the Xbox Box. That's my prediction for the Xbox One, and
Xbox
then PlayStation
X.
That's for the souped up version.
Yeah,
and then of course the PS5. So they'll both be out probably holiday 2020, if I had to guess.
Which for both of you guys, which one do you think is going to come out first?
I think they might release pretty close together, like the One and PS4 did.
Yeah,
gonna be the same.
It was like a week or two apart, right?
They were really close together. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I would default towards the PlayStation system of the two, and I think that's just because the track record with exclusives is impossible to ignore. But I would be much more quick to jump onto the Xbox bandwagon this time around than previously, just because I really prefer the Microsoft controllers. I've discovered after going back and forth between both systems, I just prefer their controllers.
I think right now Microsoft's more innovative with everything they're doing hardware-wise, and even like their cloud-based
Game Pass is interesting.
Yeah, their services, their hardware, their cloud, all that stuff is. To me, they're ahead of Sony in that area, where Sony's thriving, and I would say it's the most important part of gaming, and that would be games.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what launches with what. It sounds like, see, that's the thing though. Now that I'm thinking about it, Halo Infinite. I'm jumping ahead to the Microsoft news. Halo Infinite's going to be launching with this Project Scarlet, they're calling it, and so that's going to be a must-own exclusive for that system. And then PS5, unless they decide to bump Last of Us 2, which they said they're going to release it early next year, right?
I think that's the rumors. I don't remember if they said it was early.
Maybe that's just what people have been saying. They assume it's going to be first half of 2020. Anyway, if they bump that to be a PS5 exclusive, now you've got an interesting conundrum. You've got two must-own exclusives, killer apps for the two new systems. But we'll see.
That is a conundrum, Tim.
It is a conundrum. You don't want to have. Listen, before you've got things like, do I get the PS4 and take Knack, or do I get the Xbox One and play Rise? What
Indeed.
So it'd be interesting to have two absolutely blockbuster games launch with them. All right, so real quickly, let me talk about stuff that happened on Saturday when EA did their EA Play, which is separate but connected to E3. They do a full day of events and announcements, and super annoying Greg Miller gets up and talks too loudly to everybody. And
gross.
I used to like that guy, but boy, something happened.
He's annoying.
He has become annoying. What do you guys think about the Jedi Fallen Order stuff that you saw? Whether it was during the EA Play, or maybe you missed that and maybe you just watched it on YouTube, or maybe you watched a little bit in the Microsoft conference. What do you think about the Jedi Fallen Order stuff that you saw?
So I didn't see everything. I just saw a little bit, but I also saw like when they first announced the game like a month or so ago. I'm like, think it's gonna be a good game and fun, but something feels off. Like maybe it's the animations or like the graphics or something. Something doesn't feel like it looks AAA.
Is it that the main character looks like a complete douchebag?
That's
part of the problem.
Freaking.
Oh, we're
terrible.
swearing now. We're swearing. All right, No.
I think he looks stupid. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Like he should have looked better looking.
He looks a little dweeby. He looks dweeby.
I don't like ugly people, and he's ugly.
He should grow a beard.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like I said, ugly people grow beards.
You know who says that? People who can't grow beards.
No,
hey, come on.
Ridiculously good-looking guys.
That's who says that.
See, Derek's just full of it. I actually I'm turning 33 this year. I can't grow a goddamn beard. It's infuriating.
No, Daniel doesn't even have to shave. Daniel's only grows in right here.
That's right.
Right here. That's all.
You guys can see all the manly stubble.
You don't have any stubble, man. I have touched your face many times.
You have.
I'm sorry. Do you want to get naked again for us?
Folks, he's talking to his son, not to me. Just to be clear.
It's weird either way.
So when I watched the Jedi Fallen Order gameplay for EA Play, I thought, hey, this looks like a lot of fun. That's my first thought. This looks like a fun game. It did not strike me as, oh, look, they took the Souls or Bloodborne and put it into... I didn't think that. I know there's a couple articles out there that are saying that. I also don't think it looks like something like, The Witcher or whatever, even like a little more arcadey and quick moving. And I don't think it looks like as bad as the melee, and we just talked about Uncharted. I love those games, but the melee in those games sucks. It doesn't look like it's going to be bad hand-to-hand combat either. So I think it looks like it's going to be fine. Looks like you have some upgrades because they earned a couple skill points during that little playthrough. I think it looks like it's going to be a fun game. Will it be instant game of the year? My guess is no. It probably is going to land in that 7.5 or 8 out of 10 range. It's going to have some pretty impressive visuals at times, but for the most part, it's just going to be a fun, holiday game to play through. 12, 15-hour single-player game. That's my guess.
It looks all right. I think the structure of it reminds me of Uncharted, but the combat reminds me of the new God of War. That's what I keep hearing comparisons of.
Now that'd be interesting if they do the God of War, because God of War was in ways a small step towards that Souls experience, not completely.
Right.
But yeah, that'd be interesting if they did that.
So it looks like that to me.
So I'm looking forward to it. It's one of those ones that I would consider pre-ordering here at some point in the near future. I think that one looks interesting. The rest of the EA stuff I didn't really care too much about. It's hilarious to me when they bring up the stuff about sports and talk about how they've added some new, like, I don't know, the way their knees bend is now improved and it's more realistic or whatever.
Ooh.
So that's pretty much what they do with all their sports games. They did announce that they introduced the new legend from Apex Legends coming with season 2 is Watson. And they had a little story trailer to reveal her. And then Battlefield 5 has a bunch of new DLC, new maps and stuff like that coming out And it was mostly sports after that. So there you go. And there was a few little indie things here and there too, but nothing to get too excited about. EA was a little bit slow, not overall bad. You know what you're getting with EA. You're getting a handful of large AAA games, but for the most part, you're getting sports. So, and that's fine. That's their thing. I know it's funny to me that EA has been hated for so long, or considered one of the most hated, but most of their stuff they put out is decent. It's fine, and you know what you're going to get. I don't have a problem with EA. I never really have.
I'm furious that they closed the developers that did Dead Space. Furious.
Okay, that is pretty messed up.
Yeah, that wasn't cool. Dead Space is an amazing series. So
that is pretty messed up.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the real conferences that started on Sunday, because EA was a little bit more of a outdoor event with a few interviews, really. But on Sunday afternoon, at least afternoon for me, we got the first major conference, and really the only major live conference from any of the main console manufacturers, and that was Microsoft. So their conference, although I heard it was going to be 2 hours long, ended up being, I think, right at an hour and a half when it was all said and done. So I'll just go through these, and Daniel, interrupt me when something sounds interesting or you thought looked interesting. They kicked things off with The Outer Worlds, this new game from Obsidian that we've seen revealed before. It's got this kind of colorful and stylish look to it, but I didn't think it looked all that great in the trailer. Like, overall visual quality didn't blow me away. It kind of reminded me of Borderlands 2, where it's like, yeah, this is cool and stylish, but it looks a little dated. That was the vibe I got.
I don't know how big the game is, because they keep saying, like, I remember when they first showed it, they're like, oh, this game isn't what you think it is, but like, I didn't know what they meant, because I
don't know that either.
They weren't really extrapolating on that. So
yeah, and they showed some like what looked like space travel, maybe.
Yeah,
looked like different planets. I don't know if this is going to be, No Man's Sky meets Fallout, where you can explore, but also has Fallout type RPG. I have no clue.
It looks cool. Like, I'm interested, but I mean, I don't know enough about it yet. So
I know Derek likes Obsidian, so I'm sure he's at least interested.
Sure.
I am. I don't know much about it though, so I will. I mean, it's for me. The little like clip I saw of it, I was like, "Oh, this is day one for me." But I still want to see more. But I imagine it will be a thing.
I mean, it's October 25th, which is kind of funny to me that September is now jam packed with games. November is jam packed. October's got a few major releases, of course, like your Call of Duty, but it's not super full. So it's an interesting one to.
I was shocked by, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it later, but I was shocked by like some of when they announced like the release dates for some of these games. I was like, ooh, didn't expect that so soon. So I was shocked by some of them.
Yeah, October 25th does feel pretty soon. I'm glad they didn't give it like a spring 2020, because boy, did we see that a lot over the last couple days.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice to have a kind of a unique IP coming out this fall. I am looking forward to that, for no other reason than that it's a brand new IP, which a lot of the stuff this fall is not brand new IP. The leaks were true. The new game from Ninja Theory, recently acquired by Microsoft, is Bleeding Edge, which is going to have a beta kicking off. I'm sorry, an alpha kicking off at the end of this month on June 27th. It is indeed a very crazy melee 4-player, either co-op or versus combat type game. And it looks kind of nuts, looks kind of crazy, and it looks like something that I will never play, if I'm being honest with you. So
I think it looks cool.
Will you try? Really will you buy it, or will you just try to get in for the alpha? What are you going to do?
I'll try to get in for the alpha, but I actually really thought it was cool. I was like watching, I was like, this could be fun. I mean, is it going to probably fade fast for me? Yeah, because it's multiplayer, but it looked unique and looked fun.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Overwatch, but like an action game.
Okay. Like more melee Overwatch, basically.
Yeah, because like it looks like it has distinct like character types, like Overwatch, but it's
Yeah, they did introduce a few of their character names, right?
Yeah. So
a lot of games are going for that kind of crazy, splash the paint of their name across the screen style, whether it's Rage 2 or Borderlands or whatever. And this one seems to be going for that vibe a little bit, as well. Which is fine. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what to think about this game. No release date yet, but the alpha is starting this June 27th. Okay, and then they showed a game that I am so excited about, and they showed a bunch of what looked to me like gameplay clips, although it wasn't necessarily. It didn't show the full HUD and all that kind of stuff. It was kind of trailer-esque gameplay, and that was for Ori and Will of the Wisps, which comes out February 11th.
Now that one I was actually a little disappointed with, and that was because I thought we'd get it sooner.
Me too. I did. I thought it was going to be like August.
Like, ooh, what? Okay.
I was expecting like August or something. I don't know why. I just was thinking it's coming soon.
I mean, that game's all hand drawn.
I thought it was going to be real soon.
Yeah.
That game's all hand drawn, right? I mean, so it probably just takes a while to.
It looks so good. I mean, it's just such a beautiful game. But it's also cool because they've clearly introduced a handful of new enemy types from this wolf and a few other animal creatures that are chasing you. And mild spoilers if you haven't finished the first one, so skip ahead for a few seconds if you haven't played the first one. But at the end, in this trailer, it shows you riding on the back of one of those little baby owls that you saved from the first one, which is really cool.
That's a series. Well, there's only one right now, and then this one's being made. I'm actually kind of jealous I can't play that one. So
yeah, it's a really good series. It's high quality.
Yeah,
it's interesting because it looks to me more like a game that would have a home on the PS4 and Switch combo. Like it kind of looks like that Hollow Knight type of game that usually lands on PS4 and Switch. But
I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a Switch release because they released Cuphead, so I could see it happening.
Yeah, I thought it might happen, but doesn't look like it. Yeah. At least not anytime soon. Speaking of games that are also going to Switch, Minecraft Dungeons was announced. A new game from from Minecraft Studio. Kind of looks like an isometric multiplayer Diablo meets Minecraft action RPG. Comes out this coming spring. I don't really care about this one, so I'm going to move on.
Cool, but whatever.
My kids love Minecraft, and they do enjoy that isometric action style of game. So I could see them, when it comes out, begging me to buy it. So we'll see.
The kids are going to love it.
The kids will love it.
The kids.
It's all about the kids. Okay, then Microsoft did show kind of a new trailer with a few new gameplay and cutscene moments for Jedi Fallen Order, but we've already talked about that.
I actually like that trailer more than the 12-minute
I did too.
Thing. Yeah.
Yep, I did too. I think if I had just seen that, I probably would have been a little bit more excited, honestly.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that says about the gameplay. I don't know. Hey, so what do you guys think about the reveal for Blair Witch, which, by the way, I thought was going to be another Evil Within game for a quick moment there, but I was like, wait a minute, it's a different developer.
It was going to be Resident Evil.
Either that or Silent Hill.
Silent Hill would have been an interesting one. Yeah.
I was watching Easy Allies, and they were like, oh, I think that's Silent Hill. Or what's the one with the camcorder? Is it Outlast? Or
that sounds right. Outlast, I think so.
Yeah, with the camcorder, yeah.
Yeah, so they announced this game's coming out on August 30th. And I actually have not gone to confirm if it's multiple systems or not. I would assume it's also on PS4 and PC, but I don't know. But Blair Witch is coming out. It's a very atmospheric, moody, and I thought pretty kind of cool trailer.
Very cool trailer.
With a lot of looping. There's some kind of loop that this guy is stuck in this cursed forest. It was very creepy and cool.
Well, that's the deal with Blair Witch.
Right.
When you're kind of stuck in her, whatever you want to call it, magic, or you're just kind of stuck in the woods. You're trapped. So
yeah, it's interesting that there was a few games over the last couple of days that had a time loop concept to them, which was kind of weird. Derek, you're big into spooky games, right? You'll get the Blair Witch game probably, right?
Nope. I only care about Resident Evil.
It's just Resident Evil.
Gotcha. I played probably 3/4 of the Evil Within. I enjoyed it, but then got tired of it. I felt like that game was way too long. And you
never played the sequel, right?
The Evil Within 2, I played about the first 3 hours. I thought it was way better than the first one, but it was like, I don't care.
I love that game. That's a fantastic game.
Yeah, people were really hoping
the thing is, I think the Evil Within games are just as good as Resident Evil. I think the thing that this is just me, that I think other people would agree. The reason a lot of people like Resident Evil is not just, the scariness and stuff like that, but they have a lot of puzzles, but they also keep the game pretty short. They don't drag on because, Tim and I discussed, when he played Resident Evil 7, he's like, I like the game, but didn't enjoy the experience. It's stressful, and that's exactly how I feel when I play those games. I'm not, relaxed. So why would I want to play a scary game for 20-plus hours? You're never relaxed in the Evil Within. You're not this is so calming and soothing to my soul. No, this is tense and frustrating, and you're dragging it out. Make it 7 or 8 hours, and let me move on with my life.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
How dare you insult the father of
I knew it. This is why Daniel cannot be on.
How dare you?
Because he's such a fanboy of trash.
He gave you final. Jesus, he gave you Resident Evil. You jerk. All right.
And I'm grateful for him.
And then he makes
tell him to stop being so long-winded. Okay.
You're long-winded.
And
All
yes,
right, moving on.
Hold on. I know we got to move on. Yes, Rudy. I know you're gonna hate me more because I'm hating on everything you love. I know.
All right. Well, hopefully this is one that I think we can all get behind because this trailer was.
Oh, I bet you like getting behind a lot of guys.
Well,
yeah,
it's counter.
I do. Okay, I do. So this, dude, this game, I'm so excited for this just because of developer. Okay, I've ever since they announced Cyberpunk 2077, I was already hyped for it because I love the Witcher series so much. And so when we actually started seeing trailers, like last year we saw one, and there was some a longer kind of gameplay trailer. This time they showed a new cinematic trailer and introduced someone who appears to be a pretty main character of some kind in the game, played by Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah,
who came out on the stage and everyone kind of lost their minds. It was kind of funny because he obviously was like, yeah, this isn't really my thing, but you guys are into it, so I'm into it, And so
Keanu Reeves is the best boy.
He seems like a really cool dude.
Yeah.
And there was a really great moment that apparently CD Projekt Red also loved, where someone in the crowd, because he said the city is breathtaking, and a guy from the audience yelled, "You're breathtaking," and that had a moment where Keanu yelled back, "No, you're breathtaking." Apparently, CDPR figured out who that guy was, and they've already told him he gets a free copy of the game.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
it's pretty sweet.
Except that's encouraging people.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it was the Bethesda one.
Oh yeah.
Y'all please shut the hell up.
Oh, dude, yeah, we'll get to that. Bethesda and Ubisoft both need to stop it with the audience plants. All right. Anyway, Cyberpunk 2077, great trailer for that. I'm very excited for it, and we do have a release date, which might get pushed back. Who knows? But April 16th, 2020. I'm so excited. It's almost 5 years. It's like 4 years and 11 months, almost exactly, from when their last major game, The Witcher 3, released. So very, very exciting. That comes next year. It's one of many early 2020 games that looks great.
It's going to be ridiculous.
My wallet's going to die. Even if half these games get delayed, it's still too many games.
My body's literally going to explode.
I know.
It's just going to explode.
Yeah. The first wave of delays from early 2020 to a different date is actually going to be a relief, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Microsoft talked about this game from Thunder Lotus. I'm assuming it's also not just on Xbox. Thunder Lotus has games on PS4, PC, and Switch as well. They made Jotun and Sundered, which I've talked way too much about. But their new game is called Spiritfarer, which is kind of this animated side-scrolling city builder platformer. The animation actually does look really cool.
Yeah,
but it looks like a little bit of city building, little platforming, some puzzle solving, some action.
Well, it's actually really depressing because it's called Spiritfarer. Mm-hmm. So you the character are
ferrying spirits, like dead spirits. That's what I thought it was about. Yeah,
kind of a super bummer.
Yep. But it looks interesting. That's a good developer, so I'm curious to see, because their two games so far have been really difficult and intense action games, and this one looks like a much different pace. So, okay, here's a game that I don't care about that I know gets some nostalgia going for some people, but Battletoads, come on. So they showed this new arcade brawler with what I would describe as Cartoon Network style animation visuals. Didn't think the animation looked all that great. I don't necessarily want another arcade-style brawler in my life. And I've never been a huge Battletoads fan outside of the fact that it reminds me of the 90s. And that's kind of cool. Like, I love the 90s cheesy stuff.
I do remember playing Battletoads back in the day with a couple of childhood friends, and it was pretty fun because you can just beat up on each other, too.
Yeah, the friendly fire is kind of funny. That's
but
otherwise, I don't really care about Battletoads. And it's interesting to me that to make a game like that is taking this long. I don't know. Like, what else is that game doing besides being a pretty standard arcade brawler that's been around since the late 80s? Like, what are you doing?
Well, they announced it last E3, right? So it could have been like they just got the rights to it, or they started making it last year. So
I thought they owned Rare, and doesn't Rare own Battletoads?
They do, because they have Rash. They have Rash and Killer Instinct. They've had them in there for a while.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
It's just Microsoft. They only work on one thing at a time. Sure. All right. Then they announced this game that has this really interesting pencil art style called The Legend of Wright.
Yeah.
All these papercraft videos and kind of sketched pencil art animation. I'm not really sure what kind of game it is. It looks kind of weird and interesting and whatever. The art looks kind of cool. I'm sure that IGN and others will call it the most beautiful game ever made. We'll see.
It looks super unique.
The art style is very unique. Yes. Yeah. I couldn't really tell if you, the player, draw at all, or if it's all kind of pre-rendered and as you go to new areas, it fills in.
I think it's literally just all sorts of different styles because it's like almost looks like there's like you're like some little kid set up a fort with boxes and stuff, and then there's like the drawings and there's like all these different styles meshing together.
It reminded me a little bit of the new Yoshi's game where you've got very paper mache kind of 3D craft looking stuff coming at you, but
exactly.
Yeah, kind of interesting. Legend of Right, that one comes out 2020. Then they had a huge list, and by the way, I missed a bunch of these. So if you're really interested, go check out the video. But I jotted down as many as I could as the video was going. They had a quick sizzle reel to show a whole bunch of their ID at Xbox, so their indie developers at Xbox games that will be available on Game Pass day one. Here's the list, and there's a bunch more. Dead Static Drive, Pathologic 2, Star Renegades, After Party, Tabs, The Good Life, Crosscode, Creature in the Well, Killer Queen Black, Riverbond, Unto the End, Blazing Chrome, Felix the Reaper, Undermine, Secret Neighbor. There's a new Lord of the Rings card game, Totem Teller, and many others. Bunch of games that Derek will never play.
Yeah.
Derek was actually talking about these before you joined.
Oh, I imagine he was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about all of them.
Oh, by the way, to chime in on whatever you guys said with Death Stranding, I really don't care about that game at all. I've decided.
God damn it, Tim.
Yeah.
Come on.
I just don't care about it. Okay, then they showed this video of these airplanes flying over kind of this really scenic countryside and like over the shoreline and stuff. I honestly thought for a second they were going to say, hey, now the Xbox One's compatible with such and such VR headset, Oculus. You know, I was waiting for some kind of, here's these VR experiences you can have with Xbox. Because it looked, I assumed it was all real video. And maybe it was, I don't know. But then it said Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I was just like, that just blew my mind that this is a game you can actually control and play. I'm not sure how that's actually going to work, but I don't know if you guys saw that, but it looked
amazing, but I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, I'm never going to play a flight simulator game, but that's cool. That's cool that they're bringing that back.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice. Looks chill.
It does.
Daniel, when are you buying an Xbox One?
Get an X if you're doing that. Don't get a regular Xbox One.
When you don't have $250.
When Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 13 comes out, that's when I'll buy one.
Ooh. Yeah, we'll get to that too. That's I'm starting to feel sad about how that's likely to release.
Yeah, I have feelings about that, Tim.
I know. We'll get there. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition coming to consoles, I believe, for the first time. It's in 4K now.
I was going to tell you before we go through all this, there's a lot of conferences and a lot of stuff to cover. Do you guys want to just do like half tonight and then can we try to do it again tomorrow night?
Maybe. We'll see how quick we get through some of these. Some of these might take no time at all.
I didn't look at the notes and realize how long it was. Otherwise, I would have cut Death Stranding short, too.
All right. We talked about Death Stranding for like 4 minutes. All right. It wasn't that long.
So Age of Empires 2 is coming, as is Wasteland 3, officially announced, much talked about already. It's set in Colorado Springs, Colorado, which is hilarious because that's where I live. So Wasteland 3 is coming, and it looks like they're making it a little goofier and funnier this time. We'll see if that's what they actually do. Listen, I don't know if this is old news or not. It felt like new news to me that Double Fine is now an Xbox Game Studio.
No, that was news. That was
okay. I thought
that was supposed to be like exciting point of the show
because I missed part of the show and I came back and they had just brought out Tim Schafer and they were talking about how we're a team player and I was like, wait, did they just acquire Double Fine? So anyway, and then showed a new Psychonauts 2 trailer and so that's pretty big news. They did announce also really briefly that there's a new Lego Star Wars coming based on the current series of movies. They're calling it the Star Wars Saga. No, I'm sorry, the Skywalker Saga.
It's all 9 movies, actually.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it said all 9 movies.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Well, they've already done games of the first 6, so whatever. Yeah.
So,
yeah, those are Lego Star Wars games. Lego games in general always just kind of reliable, repetitive fun.
Yeah.
Comes out in 2020. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Yeah.
You can't say that with a normal voice. Comes out in 2020. That trailer was pretty sweet. I'll admit it.
Dragon Ball Z is the best.
Dragon Ball Z is cool. And by the way, a coworker of mine and I just stopped by his desk. He's a designer and an animator, and he had all this artwork. Good night. He had all this artwork set up on his desk of Dragon Ball Z, of Goku and and all this stuff. It was really, really well done. And I was just asking him where he got it. And he was like, well, I did that. I was like, holy crap.
That's sick.
And so at first I was like, so you traced it? You traced it or what?
Yeah, I wish I could draw.
Yeah, me too.
I draw all sorts of anime.
We started talking Dragon Ball, and then he gave me kind of like a roadmap because I was telling him like I used to watch it back in the day, like a lot. But then I kind of fell off the train. And I feel like I'm so far behind now, and I know there's been a new series, and I just don't know where to start. So he actually mapped out the way I should start to get back into it. Yeah. And so I might actually do that. I'm kind of excited to get back into Dragon Ball. All right, I digress. Another time loop game called 12 Minutes, which is this overhead perspective, completely voice acted, interactive thriller, they call it. This one looks really fascinating to me.
Yeah, that looks super cool.
Where it keeps looping this 12 minutes over and over again, and it's you and your girlfriend, and someone's trying to kill you.
It's interesting because, like, so you said this every 12 minutes, but like when it was flashing between all the different scenes, it looks like it was a different time of the day.
Oh,
like,
that's true.
It looked like the sun was like setting, or
maybe it's not 12 minutes. I guess I assumed that.
But the game's called 12 Minutes, so I think it is like a loop of 12 minutes. So it's like I'm curious what the importance is of that 12 minutes and like why it's happening at different times of the day. Like,
or maybe the daytime stuff is some sort of flashback you see in between, or I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. Yeah,
but it's an interesting concept for that game.
Yeah,
did they give a release date for that? If they did, I don't remember what it was.
I don't think so.
Way to the Woods. This one of those deer wandering simulators that we've all been wanting, where you and your deer child are wandering around this abandoned city trying to find your way back to the woods. Comes out in 2020.
Looks cute.
All right, now here's one that I really care about for Xbox. I'm really pumped about this, and it releases this September, which is surprising to me. September 10th. Gears of War 5, Bound by Blood. At least I think it's called Bound by Blood. I saw that on the screen at some point. Gears 5 is coming, and they had this really weird cinematic trailer with kind of a strange song choice of, I'm already forgetting her name, the main new girl character.
No idea.
And she was having kind of this split personality battle. It seemed like this different identity battle. It was kind of interesting. It shows me that they're really trying to focus a little bit more in on characters and their struggle, which is cool. Because 4 did a good job with a lot of that. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, which is a new Game Pass service where if you pay $15, you get Game Pass across your Xbox as well as on PC. And if you have that, then you'll get early access to Gears 5. They also announced they're going to have all kinds of betas and stuff for their horde modes, and they're going to have more details that are announced. They have this new mode called Escape. That's a co-op mode, and it showed Coltrane and someone who I assume is his daughter, but I'm not sure, and another guy, and it's a 3-player co-op game where you're trying to obviously escape from various situations. And then at the very end, they announced Terminator Dark Fate character pack as a pre-order bonus. So Gears 5 comes out September 10th. I'm pretty pumped for this.
Were they also trying to escape from Lil Wayne? Because that song choice, I felt like I was back, like graduating high school. Let's go.
Certainly they were. Yeah, that was a bit of a flashback.
Come on, guys. Like, this is not 2005. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, Gears 5 was not a new announcement. They've already told us it's coming, but it's cool that it's dropping in September.
That was one of them that I was like, really? That fast? I'm excited. It's 2 months away.
Yep, it's very exciting.
Or 3 months, I guess.
And there are other games in September, but this is one of the biggest games for any of the consoles this early fall. So that'll be exciting to play.
Considering how soon it's coming out, though, I don't know a lot about Gears, but I think Gears is like, I've played Gears and it is really fun and cool. And this one actually looks really interesting because I guess a lot of people didn't like 4. I know you just said you did like 4, but apparently it's not favored by many people.
Oh man, I love 4. 4 was great.
A lot of people love the multiplayer. And I love Gears of War 4's campaign, but the first 2 chapters of it, you're fighting like robots, and it's pretty bland.
It was a little different.
Once you get past the first 2 chapters, though, it goes crazy.
Yeah, and I thought the characters in 4 were a lot more interesting, to be honest with you. But
I think it was a good kickoff for a new trilogy.
Yeah, like a new story.
It looks interesting. I just think the showing was weird. Like that trailer in the beginning was like visually interesting, but the song choice, it just went on too long, and then the multiplayer thing was weird. Like, I don't know.
It's the kind of trailer you expect from like the folks who made Heavy Rain or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like more of that kind of a trailer, but whatever. They had a quick montage for this new Elite Controller Series 2 that's coming out with even more adjustments, more settings, and this 40-hour battery charge that it'll have, things like that. So it's a pretty slick looking piece of tech.
$180.
Is that how much it is?
That's what I heard. 180.
Wow.
Which makes sense because the other one was 150, I think, when it launched.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're into the Elite controllers, there's a new one coming. It does look pretty slick, I'll be honest. Dying Light 2, which got another trailer during Square's conference, had a gameplay and story trailer, and it did say spring 2020 for that game. I know the first one came out in January and kind of pleasantly surprised and dominated that time of year. I was sort of hoping for another January release for this one, but they're saying spring.
It's too big for January.
Spring 2020. Forza Horizon 4's new DLC is called Lego Speed Champions. It kind of looks hilarious. Comes out this week. And essentially it looks like a ton of Lego movie style Lego stuff. And lots of
That was
courses.
a fun trailer.
It was a really fun trailer. It looks like that's going to be a fun addition. Similar to what Hot Wheels did with Forza Horizon 3. It looks like Lego's going to do with Forza Horizon 4. Just a really fun addition to an already amazing racing game. Yeah. Gears Pop, who cares about that? I call it Mobile Gears of War for babies. That's my description of that one.
Ow for babies.
State of Decay 2, Heartland DLC, new story. It's available now. If you're still into State of Decay 2, then God bless you. Phantasy Star Online 2 is finally coming to our area of the world. It's going to include cross-play with PC players. It has all the additional content. It'll be free to play. It's coming out in spring of 2020. Sounds like a first to Xbox type thing. I imagine it'll be on other systems as well.
This was the feel-good announcement, Tim.
It was a feel-good announcement.
This game has been around for a while.
Yes, it has.
Like, everyone here has wanted it for years, and now it's finally coming out. So.
I never wanted it for years, so do not speak for me. Do not say everyone.
Well,
do you even know how to spell video game?
This next one was one that Phil Spencer himself hyped this one up, and I was like, "What is it? What is the PC only game they're finally bringing to console? What is it?" And he goes, "Crossfire X." I was like, "Okay." Then they showed some kind of pretty generic.
Dude, that trailer was so dumb. Did you see the part where he was underwater and he turns around and he does
he does the two-finger gun point.
Yeah, like, oh my god.
It was a dumb trailer. There's still no clue as to what kind of game it is unless Crossfire X makes you excited to hear that title.
I didn't understand that because like the wording was like the Legend is coming to consoles for the first time exclusive. I'm thinking so League of Legends is coming.
I thought it was gonna be one of those big MOBAs or a long shot, but I was always hoping that Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO or maybe World of Warcraft, something crazy, some big PC behemoth was finally coming to consoles. But nope, it's Crossfire X. So
I think it's actually very popular. I think it's one of those free-to-play games that just like
is it like Counter-Strike or something?
Something along the lines of that, where it has a ton of fans apparently.
Okay,
so I guess it is a big deal, but we just don't care. So. Yeah.
We don't get paid to do this, so we don't have to know everything. All right. The leak was true. The screenshots from Tales of Arise are true.
Yes.
That is the next game.
And I say that this game looks amazing.
Yes,
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
None of the Tales games have caught my eye just visually like this one did. This trailer looked gorgeous.
This doesn't look like they should just drop the Tales of. Like, this doesn't even look like a Tales game at all.
No, they could have just called it Arise, new game from Bandai Namco. Yeah. But comes out in 2020, looks absolutely stunning. Go check out that trailer if you haven't seen it. Borderlands 3, of course, we already knew that was coming, but they did confirm there is DLC that coming to Borderlands 2.
And it's actually supposed to be good.
And it leads into 3. It's free if you own the Handsome Jack, I think, collection.
Which everyone should right now because it's free for PlayStation Plus and whatever Xbox.
And it's on Game Pass now too, right?
It's on, but you can basically get it for free in like 3 different ways right now. So.
Yeah, so go grab that and check out that DLC, which is going to lead into Borderlands 3. I believe it is more of Lilith's story because she seems to be a pretty key part of Borderlands 3, of course. Again, more leaks. George R.R. Martin of Game of Thrones fame and From Software R&D teaming up for a new game called The Elden Ring. The trailer was a little slow moving, but kind of cool. It looks like a very dark fantasy setting.
Does anybody else feel like E3 is getting ruined by leaks? Because I think I would be more excited by Elden Ring if I didn't see a picture of it saying, hey, I think this is a real thing.
I absolutely agree with that.
So when I saw it, I was like, I already know what this is.
Yeah, I don't need people to tell me stuff early. I don't know why people feel the need to drop those.
They want to know why games media does it, because they make money off doing this.
By the way, did you see that Jason Schreier from Kotaku and Cory Barlog and others interact on Twitter? Did you guys see that exchange?
First of all, Jason Schreier is an idiot. People love this guy, and he's a uppity moron.
Okay.
I mean, I understand that he's been accurate about some stuff, but his
Well, and he's done some good
accurate.
researched pieces. He's done some
That's
pieces
all
that have
he's
great
done
research.
is research.
He's
If it's
good at
based off
his job,
facts, he's fine. But if he
Yeah.
has an opinion about anything, he's a dumbass.
So he basically came out on Twitter. He didn't come out, but he tweeted.
Might as well.
Did he though?
He tweeted that that basically don't listen to these multi-billion corporations that are trying to tell you that leaks are somehow bad for you. And Cory Barlog, the recent creator of the new God of War reboot, came out and responded basically saying, you're wrong, and here's why. These are human beings behind these games, and we want to be able to reveal it in a way that makes sense to us and to the fans. And I'm 100% on Corey's side here, and a bunch of other devs chimed in. And Jason tried to clarify, basically saying, like, hey, if a leak happens, we are news media, we are games media, we're going to report something that leaks because that's news. We can't just ignore it. So he kept trying to double down on his point, saying no one understands him.
They could ignore it, but I mean, obviously it gets them clicks. So
yeah.
Well, that's what I said. I don't think he's wrong as far as like, hey, that's our job.
That's
like
correct, but that doesn't mean we don't have to hate you for it. We can hate you for it.
Exactly. Your choice is integrity over business, and I'm sorry, unfortunately, we live in a world where business gets picked over integrity.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you had any integrity and you actually cared, like if businesses had feelings and had integrity, and you actually cared about people's feelings and things like that, no, you wouldn't report it. You would be like, no, we're not doing this.
Right.
We don't need to make money that way. We can make money other ways. That kills E3. It kills the hype. It kills, like I just said with Elden Rings. I would have totally been like, this is awesome.
I would have been shocked. I'd be like, George Martin and From Software?
Yeah.
Dude,
Now
that would have
I'm
been...
just
I probably would have thought of Microsoft's conference as being a couple steps above where I currently think of it, but they leaked a couple of these things, including Project Scarlet, of course, was already kind of leaked. But they did have a similar trailer to what they did with the Xbox One X when they had a bunch of technical developers from their team talking about how we can finally do these things. And so they're saying that holiday 2020 is when Project Scarlet is probably going to land. It's 4 times more powerful than the One X, and it's got 40 times faster speed or load times and yada yada. Halo Infinite will be
very clear here for those. I know we only got like 3 listeners. It ain't hitting native 8K. I'm going to tell you that right now.
No.
And it's not going to run 120 frames per second at native 4K. I will seriously doubt it's going to be able to do that.
You need an 8K TV anyway, so.
I mean, yeah, which, by the way, 8K TVs are like $5,000 minimum. They're like super expensive. So that's
hard
a hard
pass. I'm still enjoying my 4K. Like, it still feels new to me.
I feel like I just got a 4K TV like 2 or 3 years ago. Like, I don't feel the need to move up to 8K right now.
So let me ask you guys this. Microsoft conference, good, just okay, or bad?
I think the leaks hurt it. I think it was solid. I'm just trying to look at it real quick. I didn't get excited by anything, though. Like, I think the coolest things was Elden Rings, but they didn't show anything. It was
which is probably going to be a multi-console game, if we're being honest.
Yeah, and then Gears 5 coming out in September kind of shocked me. I was expecting like a late October, maybe November release date if it was coming this year. Yeah. Dying Light 2 looked cool, but I ultimately got disappointed because I was like, spring 2020. I wanted 2019. So a lot of the games that I actually really, really wanted were not 2019 games. And then, like I said, the surprises were personally a letdown for me because I don't care about Double Fine. I don't care about Battletoads. And then Elden Rings is the only one I would have cared about, but they ruined that.
So I'd put it at just all right. I think it was pretty meaty. Solid. There's a lot there, but I wouldn't put it at much higher than just all right.
To me, Microsoft or Xbox kills themselves because they're like, we're going to tell you about 60 games, 14 of them coming from first-party studios, and I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking in my head: Fable 4. You got to have Fable 4, right? Does anybody see Fable 4 on the notes? Does anybody see a reboot of Fable anywhere?
I think it's on there. It's at the bottom. No, I'm just
Can somebody please explain to me why Fable doesn't exist right
Listen, that explanation lives in the same place that the explanation for Nintendo not talking about Metroid lives. Those live in the same place.
No, there's a more excusable thing for that.
Okay, Daniel, what about you? Bad, just okay, good.
I mean, I enjoyed it for the fact that, it was a big conference. They showed things, obviously, some of the more exciting ones that were leaked, like Tales of, would have been way more exciting not knowing ahead of time, and Elden Rings obviously would have been more exciting ahead.
Those two would have been great surprises if they weren't leaked.
But you know who saved this whole conference? Keanu freaking Reeves.
Yeah,
Okay, that is the only part that I was like, I got goosebumps because I'm like, I love Keanu.
I do too, man. He's not even nearly close. He's not even close to the best actor working today. But I love that dude.
He's best boy.
I think it's because he's pretty authentic, and like, even though you're like, well, I don't think he really cares. I don't think he's like a gamer, but I think he like cares.
He wasn't condescending. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think he like cares about like his audience, and I think he knows his audience is into like comic books and video games, and that's the people that like his action movies. It's just like he was like, we'll keep making John Wick movies if you guys want them. Like I know he's doing it for money, but I really think he does things.
I think he enjoys it.
Yeah, I think he enjoys like making people happy.
He's also an avid gun fan, so he apparently loves using guns too. I thought his celebrity appearance and John Bernthal, who came out during the Ubisoft conference for Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I thought both of them seemed like genuinely like, hey, this is kind of fun to be here. You guys are awesome. Like, I didn't feel like they were condescending, but a lot of times they bring celebrities out. Oh, I remember when they brought out like Paul McCartney and different sports superstars for EA stuff. Those dudes did not care at all about what they were doing. They were just there for the paycheck, and they were awkward and like, boy, this is ridiculous. And we all knew it. They knew it. It was awful.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves,
well,
that whole thing.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves was a pretty awesome moment. So the next two conferences, we're only going to highlight maybe one or two items. It was Bethesda and Ubisoft. Bethesda was Sunday night. By the way, Devolver Digital was Sunday night too. The only thing that there really wasn't much to talk about there, but feel free to go watch it if you want. They're really strange. Their conferences are really weird.
Nope.
They were
Bethesda talked a lot about Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76, but we're going to skip most of that, talk about a couple of new things they announced. The big one that I was excited about was called Ghostwire Tokyo. Yeah. It's from the guys, it's from Tango, the ones who I believe made Evil Within. It's going to have a little bit of a tense, spooky vibe to it because they're good at that. But the idea is more of mystery solving, exploring Tokyo and solving the mystery of why people are disappearing across the city. So...
the game director was just super adorable. She just came out.
And she was kind of she was
super Asian.
She was very excited.
Yeah. But then she's making a game like this, which is super dark and just trying to be violent, and it's funny.
Yep. And I always love a new IP when they kind of stretch their creativity a little bit. Yeah. So Ghostwire Tokyo, they didn't give any kind of release date or anything, but it's a very interesting concept that I'm looking forward to. Whole bunch of DLC for existing games, a couple mobile games, nothing to get too excited about. But then they announced, they showed a lot of Doom Eternal stuff, by the way. Doom Eternal, one of the games I'm most excited about. It's dropping November 22nd.
Sick, too.
What's that? Youngblood does look really awesome, too. It looks like a little bit more actiony and less stealthy, which is a good thing for that series. But November 22nd, you'll get to play Doom Eternal. July 27th is 26th is Wolfenstein Youngblood. Doom will have a new multiplayer mode called Battle Mode. There's all sorts of stuff to look forward to with Doom. Cannot wait. That game looks amazing. But they introduced one more new IP I wanted to mention called Deathloop. It's from the group who made
Dishonored.
Thank you. The Dishonored games.
Yeah.
And the idea is that there's two main rivals that are constantly battling and killing each other, and then somehow respawning and going at each other again. And it's a cool concept. I assume that it's going to be online 1v1 type gameplay. It's my assumption. Maybe there's more to it than that. Maybe you can play against the PC, against the computer. I don't know. But the concept of it is kind of interesting. This death loop where you're constantly trying to kill the other person. So
that's Groundhog Day, the game.
It's Groundhog Day, the murdering game. Yeah,
exactly.
So Deathloop looks somewhat interesting. Otherwise, Bethesda was a pretty big letdown.
Yep.
Not a lot to get excited about there. But I'll be honest with you, I was expecting that Ubisoft on Monday afternoon would come shining through, and maybe they were going to surprise us with an Assassin's Creed Roman game. I've heard that there's a three-part plan with Origins, Odyssey, and then Ancient Rome of some kind.
The third one's going to be Viking.
Or Viking. Yeah, I've heard rumors of both of those, and I was like, maybe they'll surprise us, use the same engine yet again, make some tweaks and adjustments, and give us another full world to explore. Nope. There's no Assassin's Creed game coming this fall. They did play a lot of Assassin's Creed music at the beginning, though, so get excited about that.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
A lot of Assassin's Creed music with no Assassin's Creed games.
I think it's an actual, kind of like how there's Distant Worlds for Final Fantasy. I think it's a new orchestra that's traveling and doing an official concert for their soundtrack.
Which is cool. The Assassin's Creed music, to be totally honest, very, very good.
Yes.
It's very high quality. I can totally see why it's worth doing a series of performances. No problem there. But I thought it would be followed up with some sort of, if not a brand new Assassin's Creed, at least here's this brand new collection of all the Assassin's Creed games or something crazy. I was expecting some kind of Assassin's Creed gaming something, but nope, nothing.
I think it's next gen.
Yeah, you're probably right. The next one will be...
I don't even think it's going to be cross-gen. I think it's just going to be next gen.
Next gen. Yeah, I could see them doing that.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip through a bunch of these additional things. Similar to Bethesda, the Ubisoft conference was, I said concert because they did so much music at the beginning. It was quite disappointing. That doesn't mean they don't have some exciting games coming out.
I will say this before you talk. Ghost Recon Breakpoint would have been cool if, again, why did you tell us about it before the conference? And
they should have waited.
It's not like you told us 3 months ahead of time. You told us 3 weeks.
They should have waited. I don't get that either.
Wait, why did you release that information so early? I don't know. I understand that.
Cool looking game, great actor to play that kind of villain role. And if it turns out that in that game you get to decide to either be part of this Wolves team that he's leading or the good guys, that's amazing. I'm guessing no, you're just fighting against the Wolves in the story at least. But so that does look cool. That comes out on October 4th. Beta starts September 5th. So Ghost Recon Breakpoint does look pretty solid. Again, a bunch of other DLC things, some Division 2 episodes that are coming out. There's a new game about roller derby coming out called Roller Champions, which looks awful.
It's like Rocket League, but rollerblading.
Oh, that's what I thought at first. And then I saw them show a really quick gameplay clips, and I was like, this looks so dull. You're just literally riding in a circle, trying to throw something through a hoop. It does not look fun because you're on roller skates. I don't know. It does not look fun. Then they had the dev from Assassin's Creed Odyssey come out. One of the lead devs, and they're the team that built Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And I could have sworn we were finally about to get some Assassin's Creed news, right? Even if it was coming in 2020, here's the next Assassin's Creed. But no, they're doing a brand new IP, which is fine with me. It's supposed to be coming out February 25th, so it's not that far away considering the fact they only showed us a 25-30 second clip of this game called Gods and Monsters. For a split second with the art style and what the main character is wearing, I thought it was Kid Icarus. I thought Nintendo and them had teamed up again for a quick second, which kind of would have been awesome, but they didn't. So It's got this mythology vibe to it. It's all about mythology. So I don't know if it's open world. Is it action RPG? It's
open world.
I would assume so, but they didn't give us a lot of details there.
This is what was insanely frustrating about the Ubisoft conference is a lot of these games, they either gave information beforehand, like the what's the one, Breakpoint?
Yeah.
They showed stuff beforehand, and then with that one, Gods and Monsters, apparently there's on the website there's a bunch of information for it. There's screenshots. It tells everyone that it's an open world game, like you said, mythology. Why wasn't that discussed and shown during the frickin' conference? Right. I don't understand.
Yeah, they should have. I didn't know that. They should have said that.
Yeah, I mean, because you didn't Watchdog Legions.
I skipped that one. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay, because that honestly was the main thing that was actually even worth any watching at all during that conference.
I'm glad you brought that up. I totally forgot about Watchdog Legion.
Exactly. It was pretty forgettable.
I'm a fan of the Watchdog games. I liked the first one. I liked the second one. I understand why some didn't like the first. I understand why a different group of people didn't like the second. I was hoping that with the third Watch Dogs game, they'd finally bring it all together and have a more grounded, serious, gritty story with some of the really fun, legitimately awesome gameplay stuff from Watch Dogs 2 that a lot of people missed out on because they hate millennials. So I get that. That being said, That being said, when they showed Watchdog Legion, I thought this looks really good. I like that it's set in London. That's a really cool, like futuristic London setting. It looks awesome. And then they showed that there's permadeath, which at first I thought that's interesting. And then you jump from them to a new character, right? To a new recruit, then to a new recruit. And it basically says everyone in the whole city has a backstory, they're all recruitable, or at least a lot of the people in the city are recruitable.
It's everyone,
and you can play as them. Okay, cool concept. And then I immediately thought that almost instantly takes away any story or character value that this game might have had. So now it just becomes, this game better be a dream to play. Like, it better be so much fun to hack stuff and fight enemies and drive around, because there's going to be no story that we care about now, because every character you play is literally a throwaway side character.
Well, I'm wondering if, because it's about a resistance group, right? That's what you're playing, is you're the resistance. Right. I'm wondering if there's like someone who's the head of the resistance, and then kind of like their little cronies, and then you're playing sort of all these peons that are trying to, do all the little missions and so on and so forth.
Right.
I can't wrap my head around this game because, again, anyone is scannable and you can try to recruit them. And then there's like side quests that coincide with that. And like this dialogue unique to that, like I can't even, it's insane.
And it even went to cutscenes too, right? Like the cutscene it went to showed one of the girls that they happen to be controlling at that moment. But I thought, what if you don't have that character?
Right.
That's interesting.
Like, how much dialogue did they have to record? And and again, for all the characters in the game, like that, I can't wrap my head around it.
That is insane. It does come out March 6th, 2020. It's the first few weeks of March are hilarious. There's just,
I know.
It's absolutely insane. But anyway, that comes out March 6th. I'm curious about it, but my hype level is not super high. I really wanted them to continue with following, or maybe even going back to Aiden from the first one. I thought that'd be an interesting thing. Have him go to a new city, but whatever.
Might show up. Who knows?
Yeah, he might. He showed up in Watch Dogs 2, by the way. Spoiler.
Okay.
All right. So that was it for Ubisoft. It opened with a cool game. It ended with a teaser for what looked like a cool game. Ubisoft is one of my favorite developers out there currently and publishers out there. I like a lot of the stuff that they make. I just thought their conference, for the most part, was stuff that we already knew about because of leaks, or they already announced on their own. And I think I said this as we're all chatting about it in our group, that right there just could have been a tweet. Like, you didn't need to do anything more than put out a little YouTube video and tweet about it. Why is this at your conference? Why are we all being forced to watch this? Rainbow Six Siege Season 13 content. Why are we watching that? Anyway.
I don't know, man.
All right. Moving on to Square. Is it Enix or Enix?
Square Enix.
Square Enix.
I think some people say Enix, but they're stupid. So
Square Enix. All right. Obviously, the big news here is we finally have a release date for what appears to be at least the first part of who knows how many parts of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Comes out March.
I gotta get my friend. Hold on.
Okay. Comes out March 3rd, 2020. They showed a lengthy trailer and gameplay. The gameplay they showed was one of the first boss battles. I assume it's the first boss battle in the game, if I remember correctly. So they showed lengthy gameplay of a couple of battles, and they answered a bunch of questions about. They gave a lot of details on what the combat's going to be like. They did confirm this is going to be just set in Midgar. So I have a lot of questions about that. Is it actually a full-fledged game? Will they charge $20 per entry? Like, what is this going to look like?
All right, Tim. All right, here we go.
I think it's going to be $40 per part. It's going to be
$60. It's going to be a full price game. It is what they're saying is it's essentially a full length game that only takes place in Midgar, which is like the first 8 to 10 hours of the game.
Yeah, of like a 50-hour game.
50 to whatever, depending on side quests and getting all the summons.
Oh, I spent like 200 hours on that game when I played it. But yeah.
Fighting the weapons, etc. So basically, they don't know how many parts it's going to be yet. Katase actually has already said that. They said they don't know yet. And so it's going to be 2 discs. I'm thinking that it'll be kind of like Red Dead Redemption 2, where there will be a second disc that has like all the stuff you install, and then maybe the other disc is what you use to play. Just a possibility. I don't know if that's what they're going to end up doing. But yeah, we're basically going to be spending $60 to play just in Midgar for this first part of however many parts that come out.
But it looks so good.
It does. It looks amazing, Tim.
Derek, what did you think when you saw it? Did you think I got to play this right away? What did you think?
I felt that way since they announced it.
But now that you've seen more in-depth combat and the fact that you can do the real more active time, or you can take your time a little bit and freeze things.
I think the combat looks amazing, but you guys got to remember, I'm a huge Final Fantasy 15 fan, so this is up my alley.
Yeah,
I like turn-based, but I don't finish turn-based games because after about 5-10 hours, I'm like, okay, this is boring.
Well, you do get to switch between characters, which is different from 15, of course, where you're giving instructions as one character. This one, you are swapping as much as you want to.
Well, you can swap now in 15, but
oh, now you can't. They updated that. Okay.
Once they released the DLC for all the bros, then Jesus.
Oh.
Then yeah, they made it so you can actually swap between.
Did you just kill Cloud?
My cat did. Stupid cat.
Let me see Cloud. Hold him up. Let's see him.
Hey guys, I hope you look forward to playing the first part of a bunch of games that you'll be spending a bunch of money on. So thank you. Please be excited. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So say we all. All right. So
all right, I gotta ask you though, because you're a huge fan.
Yep.
Are you even thinking about the collector's edition?
I'm gonna get the $80 edition.
Because you're a cheap ass. Okay, got it.
I'm sorry, I don't have $330 to spend on the first class edition. All right.
Is that how much that one is?
Have you thought about sleeping with Sasan?
Depends on how much money he gives me. I have
He'll give you $330.
Well,
you just can't talk.
I mean, he's really jacked, so I mean, you know,
he just can't talk. Derek learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't get my money. I just kept talking.
So that $300 version, is that the one that comes with the Cloud on a motorcycle figurine or statue? Okay.
Yeah, and other things. But yeah, I mean,
that steelbook case is phenomenal.
It looks really nice. If you're a fan of Final Fantasy VII, I could see a whole bunch of different combos of these special versions being appealing. My biggest issue with it is if you can't make the full Final Fantasy VII game, if you can't remake the entire thing, in my opinion, just shelve it and keep it under development until the whole game is ready. I really do not like that they're putting out what, to me, it's been a long time since I played Final Fantasy VII, but I felt like that Midgar sequence, I mean, 8 to 10 hours feels generous. I thought that was over in a few hours, but maybe it was longer than that.
You can rush through it, I guess, but yeah. Like you can like plow through it, like not do any sort of extra fighting. Like obviously you can fight more creatures and not run away from them.
That means there's entire characters like Kate Sith and Yuffie and some others that we won't ever see in this one, right?
We're not going to see Vincent. You're not going to see
Vincent.
Yuffie. You're not going to see Kate Sith. Sid. You're not going to see Sid.
Or 13.
No, you'll see 13 because you meet him at
he's in Midgar. Okay.
Headquarters. You meet him at towards the end. So
okay.
I think here's the thing, guys. Like, I know y'all have your memories of Final Fantasy VII, and obviously the gameplay is going to be different. But I think if they're saying, hey, this first part is going to be stuck in this one area, they're obviously going to make changes to where you're not going to just follow the story or do maybe the little side quests you did. I think there's going to be more to this.
Well, no, there absolutely is. They already said there is. That's the thing. So, I'm telling you.
Yeah, if they give me a full RPG, if I get 30 to 50 hours, somewhere in that range of gameplay and tons of upgrades and lots of boss battles, and I feel like I've experienced a true Square RPG, I'm going to be satisfied. And I'll be like, you know what? They made the right call, and I'm looking forward to part 2 and part 3 in the next couple years. But I just don't.
That's the thing. That's what's pissing me off, to be honest.
I think I will, especially if they do a good job of creating characters in a way that the original game didn't. In the original game, really the only villain that was really interesting, of course, was Sephiroth. If they make Sephiroth more of a mysterious, like, villain that you're not really engaging with a lot quite yet, he's like kind of like Thanos in the early Marvel movies, but they give you some kind of villain and story to really care about in Midgar. So if they build it that way, it could be interesting.
Well, the thing because they've shown a couple of trailers where it showed Sephiroth. So this newest trailer, they actually showed his face.
Yeah, that's cool.
That first trailer, it was just from behind his head.
That was a cool scene, by the way. They did a good job with that.
Yeah, and that scene does happen in the original game.
Yeah.
You just don't see Sephiroth. You just see Cloud kind of grabbing his head, and the screen, I think, is like flashing red. And at that time, it's like, oh, what's going on? Like, you didn't really know. And then once you beat the game, you kind of figure out that his head's all messed up. And so I'm not going to get into the spoilers, but but in this, they're actually they're showing Sephiroth and
showing that connection. Because I don't think he's going to be in it a ton. I really don't think he's going to be in it much. How could he be?
They're expanding on this, and that's why this game is going to be 30, 40, 50 hours. But what's bugging me though is like and it's the same thing with 15. Like they we're like, oh my god, versus 13 is now 15, like surprise everybody. And then like 4 years later, they gave us a release date and then delayed it for 2 months. Like Square Enix is just unbearably bad at time management. And it's just getting so frustrating because it's like, just stop announcing your damn games and actually make full games.
They should just get the Konami guys to come in and help them learn how to make your workers work late hours under horrible conditions and get the game done, just get the game done.
But it's the same thing that happened with 15. The DLCs that they released for 15, that shit should have been in the game. Those were just DLCs of the bros and what they did afterwards. Like that should have been in the game. And now,
but see, we didn't know any better. It's not like 15 was a story that we knew start to finish, front to back. Exactly. Now with 7, we totally know what we want to experience, and it's going to feel like they're just giving us a sliver of the entire thing.
And the thing is, like, we're going to eat it up because it's like what else can you do? We're not collectively millions of gamers going to say.
I'm not mad about this. I know you guys are, at least Daniel is. I'm not mad.
I'm furious.
Because the way I look at it is, if you wait for them to make 7, the remake, all the way through and then release it, I think they leave out a ton of extra content that they want to put in now. And I also think you don't get the game until PlayStation 6. So I'm okay with getting this game in early 2020, 2020, and getting a 20 to 40 hour, whatever it's going to be, taste of it, and then they're going to leave you on a hook. Like, even though we all know the hook, they're going to leave you on a hook for the next part. And again, we're getting a new experience, not only just gameplay wise, but in the world. But you're getting a new experience as far as they're adding a ton of stuff on, and we're getting it sooner. That's why I don't have a problem with it. So I look at it like The Walking Dead. I'm okay with whenever they just release them by seasons or by episodes. I'm okay with it because they always ended on a cliffhanger, enticing me to want to play the next episode or the next season, and they get it out sooner because they're releasing that way instead of going, okay, we've created this story for, I forgot the girl's name. We've created this story for this girl. We're going to make it 3 seasons long, but instead of making 3 seasons, we're just going to make it in one game. So we're going to announce it now, but it's going to come out 17 years from now. No, go ahead and do it this way. Again, I don't want all games to do this, but in this case, because I understand they wanted to make this, but they were like, we don't want to release it in 17 years. And we need money now. Like, that's really what this is
it is money. You're right.
If we release it in 2020, we get paid, and everybody wants us to finish this game. So we get paid, and then we get to finish this game, and then get paid again, and get paid again. It's all about services. I actually agree with Daniel somewhat on Final Fantasy 15 as far as, it was a cluster. Obviously, we know that. And I don't follow Final Fantasy like he does. But it was a cluster. I got a lot of enjoyment out of Final Fantasy.
Out of the base game, I really enjoyed it too.
I think I put it as my game of the year. Pretty sure it
was in my top 3. I loved it.
I think it was 1, and then Darksiders 3 was 2. And I platinumed it. I played over 100 hours of it. I had a blast with it. But even though I enjoyed that game, I do realize, especially looking back, I'm like, the story had some great moments, and I overall liked the story arc. I even liked the ending. I thought it was a cool ending. But it had like a lot of like, it was very bare bones, I would say.
Well, and it felt disjointed, like it wasn't quite connected. By the way, you meant Dark Souls, not Darksiders 3.
Yeah.
I will say this. So fair point, valid points. I see what you're saying. Also, they could take the hundreds of staff they have making garbage like Crystal Chronicles Remastered and all this other stuff, and just put all of them on Final Fantasy 7. Right. Just have everybody work on it. Okay. And also, why are you making Battalion 1944? This looks like garbage. That looks like a stupid multiplayer game that's not even close to a Battlefield 1940 or whatever it was. What are you doing? Stop making that garbage. Stop working on Square Music streaming services and make Final Fantasy VII. That's what I would say.
But also at the same time too, like I think it's awesome that they're gonna expand on these scenes, but also you need to kind of how do I phrase this? Like, don't go too far. Just understand where, like, maybe we should stop here. It doesn't need to just keep going and going and going and going to the point where it's like, hey, maybe we should just cut this off here and then make like 5 other parts of this game that was actually one game at one point. Like, just make the game that you want to make, but also be realistic and just don't bloat it, and make, again, this game that you can buy right now. That's one full game. You're not going to be spending $60 on multiple parts. Because also, too, think about it. Like, this game has a world map originally, right? So I don't know how they're going to do that in this new one. If they're going to have a world map, something that's, you know, more like 15, where it's like this like actual world that you're running around in. But how is that going to work in multiple parts? Like, how are you going to break the world map up? Where, like, if you're playing, say, part 2, and then you get to a certain scene, and then you go to part 3, but then you want to go back to the areas in part 2. So, like, are those areas going to be in that game?
Great question.
Because then it's like, then they're putting those parts in that.
And then
game.
what do you have? You have like 200 gig install for all of the parts together, or something crazy?
Then that stuff has to be in there. Like, then you get track.
I think you're going to have the whole world. It's just whether it's unlocked or not.
Oh my gosh. Derek, what's with the optimism? You're being so annoying tonight.
Y'all are whiners. I think this is great.
I'm obviously going to buy it. I'm buying the $80 version. They're getting my freaking money. I'm just, since day one, when they said they were going to break this into parts, I've been furious about it because I don't think it's acceptable. I think they should have waited and made this one giant game. Look at Witcher 3. That game is insanely huge, and it's expansive. And there's also, look at Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That game.
Okay, but don't we think, isn't CD Projekt Red a vastly smaller team than what's at Square, what they have available? Yeah. And even though Witcher 3 took a long time to make, they completed that game. They didn't give us the White Orchard, and that was their full game.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, would have been a full game for many developers out there.
Yeah.
You know, they released the entire thing. So I feel like it's possible. I'm not sure what it is that Square does differently that takes so stinking long. But I will say this.
Time management.
Yeah, you're right. The time management is a big deal. I will say this, though. Some of the other stuff they have coming out, while a lot of it is DLC and stuff we already knew about, they're at least doing some other interesting things with new team members. So they brought in the guys who made Bulletstorm and worked on Gears Judgment. And next summer, they have a game coming out called Outriders. Looks like this really dark, modern shooter. Looks kind of cool. So go check that one out if you're interested. Square doesn't do, at least not a ton. They're not. When you think of Square, you don't think shooters. I know they've done several, but you don't think shooter when you think Square as a publisher. And so that's interesting that they are putting that one out. Oninaki looks like a really awesome action RPG. Comes out August 22nd. Great looking game. Oninaki looks really cool. And then the what I thought was pretty underwhelming Marvel's Avengers comes out May 15th, 2020. Don't get me wrong. Love playing as Marvel superheroes. It's a lot of fun.
We're weird, right?
Their voice cast looks cool, but something about it looked a little bit weird. And I'm also not convinced it's going to be all that great to play at a glance.
There was definitely, I mean, obviously in our heads, we're probably picturing, like the movies, right? You're picturing all these actors and then you're looking at these guys and it's just like.
Yeah, but even so, they looked a little off. Even with that in mind.
They look off. And I think it's a little bit of like the movie actors, but also in our heads, just thinking something else. They
don't quite look like the animated versions or the comic book versions or the movie versions. They're just, I get it. It's Crystal Dynamics' take on the story and the characters, but. Anyway, they totally stole something from Endgame where it's like 5 years later. You know, I was like, well, that already happened. Okay. Our brand new original storyline with the same main timeline. Okay. So there you go for Square. I thought of those 3 main developers, who, by the way, I don't think need a conference every year like this. Bethesda, Ubisoft, and Square. I thought Square was far and away the best, the most interesting announcements, the most exciting gameplay for their major releases.
Square was the best, period, I think.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. Maybe. They might have been. I thought Microsoft was pretty good. I thought Square was pretty good. And then this next one we'll talk about, this last one, we'll wrap it up here, I thought was also pretty good. For me personally, some of the stuff that I like to play, I was a little more excited than most, but trying to be objective about it, I have to admit it was just pretty good. So the Nintendo Direct aired this morning, And so we finally have an idea of some release dates for a few things. We know some of the things that Nintendo's working on. Just to get it out of the way, just in case you haven't seen it, no, Nintendo did not talk about Metroid, whether it's in the form of a trilogy, HD, compilation for their Metroid Prime games, for a regular Metroid game, or for Metroid Prime 4. They didn't talk about Metroid whatsoever. They also didn't show anything Bayonetta 3 related. So there's some disappointment there, but they had plenty of other stuff to show, just might not be for everybody. So I'll skip through some of these things that we already know about. They did confirm that Luigi's Mansion 3 is coming this year. If it's coming out in October, like I would assume it is with Halloween time, I'm not sure why they didn't just say October. Maybe there's some things in the game that they're still not settled on. But Luigi's Mansion 3 looks as charming and silly fun as ever. I love that series.
How about that Gooigi, huh?
The Gooigi. It's got some co-op. They're adding
Gooigi.
Scare Scraper mode where up to 4 players can help empty out the ghosts together. It looks like a fun game. Luigi's Mansion 3 is fun. Really weird take on Dark Crystal. Age of Resistance Tactics is coming out to Switch. Probably other systems too. Based on the new Netflix series. Really weird. It's supposed to come out this year. I've never been a fan of Dark Crystal. It always made me feel weird because of the
I don't know anything about them. I just know that it has fans.
Yeah, people like it. Yeah. So anyway, that's coming out. Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening looks adorable. Got a release date of September 20th. I think it looks amazing. I loved that Game Boy game. I played that start to finish a handful of times, so I'm looking forward to playing that one as well. Derek, will you play Link's Awakening?
I'm 100%.
Okay.
I've never played it, so I'm forward to trying it out.
I assume this is a new game from Square, Trials of Mana. I had never heard of it, but then I saw on the collection, it looks like it actually is maybe a remake of an old game called Trials of Mana.
It's the third one. It's the third Sword of Mana.
So is the one they announced for 2020, is that a remake? They announced Trials of Mana for 2020. It must be a remake.
So Sword of Mana never came out in the States.
Okay.
So the collection's going to have the original one, which is super
and then they're doing a remake as well.
They're doing a remake as well, which is pretty
Collection of Mana is available now, which the only one I really care about is Secret of Mana, which is an amazing game, especially if you've got a friend to couch co-op with. Love that game. It also includes Final Fantasy Adventure, which began this kind of Mana series, and Trials of Mana or Sword of Mana, which is out now. They did confirm that CD Projekt Red has made The Witcher 3 Complete Edition for the Switch. It looks less than stellar, folks, on the Switch. No surprise there. If you're going to play this game, I can't recommend enough to get a high-quality PC, Xbox One X, or at the very least a PS4 or PS4 Pro. That's the way to play this game. Witcher 3 is a gorgeous game, and it deserves the highest fidelity possible.
It looks pretty bad.
That being said, if you want to play it portable mode, it might be worth it. Roll the dice, but I don't necessarily recommend it at full game price. So wait till the reviews come out on it. Is it even playable? Yeah. You know, maybe if it doesn't look amazing, but it plays really well. I don't know. I don't want to make excuses for it. It does not look great. So I'm excited that it's coming to Switch, but I'm now the realistic limitations of the system have hit home.
Yeah.
Fire Emblem, of course, looks amazing. A new story trailer for that. They did confirm that Resident Evil 5 and 6 will be dropping this year on the Switch, with the super cheesy trailer of this guy and girl going to a haunted house to play their Switch.
Yeah, that was bad. That was
so stupid. Bad. So stupid. Hey, but they had a really cool and stylish trailer for No More Heroes 3 coming in 2020. That made me really interested in that. That was a kind of a cool trailer they had with Travis Touchdown.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot. So No More Heroes 3 is coming in 2020. Contra is making a return in Rogue Core. It's going to be this, I would describe it as this arcade isometric bullet hell style game. Comes out September 24th. A weird time to release that. There's other stuff coming out around then, but new Contra looks kind of fun. In addition to the Contra collection, which is now available if you're a Contra fan. Daemon X Machina, which I assumed with their kind of beta and feedback earlier this year, that this game was getting put back on the development shelf for a long time. That was my assumption. But it's actually full release on September 13th.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. That game looks pretty fun.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Panzer Dragoon, either one of you play that?
No.
It's a Sega Saturn game, right?
It's making a return to the Switch this winter.
Or Dreamcast. I know there's more than one. I just forget which one this one is.
And then it was also on the original Xbox, right?
Okay, yeah. So maybe there's more, maybe there's 3 of them. I don't remember.
I think it's the Saturn one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pokemon Sword and Shield, of course, coming November 15th. Astral Chain, they showed another gameplay and story trailer.
This game looks sick.
I am really pumped for what Platinum Games and Nintendo have put together with Astral Chain. It looks like a lot of fun.
And the music's rad.
The music's cool. It kind of looks like it's going to have a real, and I mean this in a fun way, like a fun, campy anime movie storyline to it. Yeah. I'm just really excited for it. August 30th is going to be.
Platinum, right?
It's Platinum, yep. I was talking with our buddy Jesse White about this too. I was like, I just hope they nail the combat. And his response was, it's Platinum. That's what they do. They nail the combat. They might miss on other elements of the games, but they nail the combat. So
Jesse White knows nothing.
Thanks for chiming in.
I'm ready to fall asleep. Can you get through Nintendo faster?
Listen, I gotta wake up 5:30. All right, so I don't want to hear it.
They had a sizzle reel of a whole bunch of other games that are coming out. The ones that jumped out at me were Spyro Reignited Trilogy is coming out this year on Switch. Ni no Kuni 1 is coming to Switch.
Yeah.
Although it will not be the remastered version like the PS4 is getting.
That's fine. It's the better Ni no Kuni.
It will be what I hear is the better version of Ni no Kuni. I'm sorry, of the Ni no Kuni of the two games that are out. Yes. It's the better experience, and it's coming out September 20th.
Absolutely.
Let's see if there's Alien Isolation. That was kind of a weird announcement. That's coming to Switch later this year.
Be scared on the go.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Super Lucky's Tale is no longer an Xbox exclusive.
So we'll get that in Cuphead, but not worry. I mean, come on.
That's hilarious to me. Okay, and then finally the big reveal. We got one more thing to show you.
Oh yeah,
was a new teaser for a brand new full sequel to Breath of the Wild. And it showed some clips of Link and Zelda, I would assume, adventuring together. So does that mean she's a constant companion of yours? Does that mean you get to control both? Is it going to be a co-op? Like I'm very curious. I'm very excited. And my hope, listen, I know this is optimistic. I'm going to be like Derek and be optimistic for a second. My hope is that with it looking like the same Breath of the Wild engine and visual style, that they'll pull a Majora's Mask here and get this thing released in 2020. Where it's only 3 years between these two games. That would be amazing.
Well, it's the same world, right? Clearly, but
it looks like it.
But that section that they were like, and they were riding some weird mechanical creature, I think. And they're underground. Like that's the main thing. The main thing with this whole trailer is they're underground the entire time.
Exactly.
So and there's some sort of weird dead. I'm assuming Ganon.
That was cool.
Never finished it. I never finished. I'm assuming it's Ganon.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay.
I need to get back to it, but
Zelda's turning into Dark Souls.
Yes.
It's Zelda meets Dark Souls meets Tetris. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So that was the big teaser from Nintendo. It's now in development, and so
the new Forza game looks like Dark Souls too.
That's the new Nintendo thing is they'll just say this is now in development. Oh yeah, they did talk about Animal Crossing, but I didn't write it down because I don't care.
Well, that looks like Dark Souls too.
Oh, that comes out in March of 2020. But you know what?
Ignoring Dark Souls. Stop ignoring Dark Souls. Everything's Dark Souls.
My life is Dark Souls.
So now that we are past most, all the main conferences and presentations, and now we're into that moment of, maybe there's a few small announcements that will be revealed. For the most part, we're now just waiting for different media outlets to tell us what did we think about games that we played on the show floor. So we're at that phase of the conference. So most of the really exciting stuff is over. Overall, what do you guys think? And do we need to keep having this thing?
E3.
I like having this thing. I don't like that Sony pulled out. I don't like all the leaks. I felt like overall, even if let's say we had no leaks, it's still underwhelming.
Okay.
This year. I think next year will be better or whatever.
Is that just kind of the timing of there's no new consoles right now? We're kind of at the end of the life cycle. They're not ready to really reveal.
I think, like, for instance, like, yes, we got Halo Infinite, like, announced. We got to see
By the way, great trailer. We didn't even talk about that trailer. I thought that was a cool trailer for Halo.
It was.
I was just going to say that was underwhelming. But I understood why. Like, I understood why. Like, they can't show, like, I saw some idiot post. I don't understand. Like, Halo Infinite is, it's going to be on their next console. Why did it look like current-gen consoles? Because they can't show you it, you dumb.
Hello. The cross game, you moron.
Stupid. Oh crap! I said that word.
No, I really appreciate it.
Look at him. He's got a nerd pen out.
The last moment here, can Derek and I just swear at each other a bunch?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, the show's over. Daniel's a piece of shit.
I die.
I felt like E3 was underwhelming.
If I was in a room with you, Osama bin Laden, and Hitler, and I had a gun with 2 bullets, I'd shoot you in the face twice.
Actually, I don't have to bleep that out at all. That was completely appropriate. I got no problems with any of that.
I actually appreciate that.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So here's my take on it. I think E3 is still exciting. I like having that time of year that we all get amped up and see all the announcements come together. I've got no problem with it. I just think these companies need to rethink this hour and a half format and maybe go down to more of a 30 to 45 minute format and just talk about a couple new things. I don't think you need to say like, here comes our DLC for all of our existing games. I think that's where you're forcing an audience who really doesn't care about that to sit through that.
That being said, with what you just said, I will say that's what I felt Microsoft did good. Is Microsoft, the last few conferences they've done, they've been like, hey, here's Phil Spencer. He comes out, talks for like a little bit, and then it's just games. My only issue is a lot of times it's not games I want to see, but they understand like what we want, and that's, we don't want like you to bring out devs to like show us gameplay and have those awkward conversations. They know that we don't want to see like the stupid techie, like what did they show a long time ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, the Hollow Room or whatever. Like it was like cool for a second, but it's like we never saw it. Like
the HoloLens stuff with Minecraft and all that.
Like why are you? You don't need to waste our time on that.
We all saw it and thought that's cool tech, and we're never going to experience it, and we were right.
Yes. Now my issue is like Microsoft to me did good. Now let's flip it. Again, Bethesda was the only other one I watched like the full thing. They are the opposite of Microsoft, and that's they wasted our time for the whole thing, but for the first 30 minutes. And I think Fallout 76 is an okay game, but it was almost like the first 30 minutes was like, please guys, please play Fallout 76.
Oh, it was pathetic.
We acknowledge that we screwed up, but please play.
It was so pathetic.
We're not
backwards apology.
Yeah,
offering free stuff. They were like, it was like backwards apology. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. Here's some free stuff. It's like, no, how about you apologize? Like,
that's a sore subject with me because I'm never entitled, but I spent a lot of money on Fallout 76, and I was all excited, and it was a broken piece of crap, and I ended up playing more in the beta than I did actually at launch with the game. And and they dropped the prices like right away. And I don't normally get mad, but I'm like, okay, so you sold a broken game. And to make up for it, you drop the price down to like $40
for people who didn't support you.
Exactly. And so you didn't offer me any type of refund. You also didn't if you don't want to give me my money back, that's fine. Because again, I don't want to be entitled.
Give me stuff in the game then.
But then give me something in the game or upgrade my copy from a
give me whatever the in-game currency is, whatever that is.
Deluxe or whatever.
Yeah.
They did nothing. I'm like, guys, are you going to just act like we didn't pay for this game and then you're just going to sell it cheaper to everybody else because you realize it's broken? But anyways, that's a side thing.
Yeah, I thought that both Microsoft and Nintendo have hit a good cadence with most of their directs and or conferences. So when Nintendo does a direct, they usually have, and to be honest, it is much more like family and young kid focused, so it's a little cheesy, a little bit of a skit, whatever. But for the most part, then they show game.
Yeah, they're more direct.
Yes, and then they have a little like talking, and they introduced a new guy named Bowser. Hey, his name's Bowser. And so like they'll do things like that. But then they do game. So I think Nintendo does a good job with that. Microsoft continues to do a good job with that. Ubisoft and Square and Bethesda could learn a little bit from that. Although Square did a pretty good job at a certain point in their conference going from game to game with their little like the little interlude with the picture frames or paintings or whatever, and that was kind of cool. But they certainly had a little bit too much of let's bring out the Japanese developer guy and have him speak for a long time and then have it translated slowly. And it was like there was no other way to do this. There was no other way to.
Honestly, most of, like 99% of the time that doesn't work. And I'm not even saying this just because it was Final Fantasy. I for some reason and there was that American dude that was on stage too.
Yeah.
I thought they actually had they were going through it pretty well. I thought
is that because the anticipation got you excited? Is that what it was? It was the build up.
No, I'm telling you, nothing to do with Final Fantasy. I thought Katase-san on stage with that American dude. They had a good cadence with one another.
Daniel just likes E3 foreplay.
Well, listen, I already expressed my opinion.
Listen, Daniel, if Elijah was up right now, he'd be telling you to shut up. Can you just shut up? Eli, what do you want to say to him? Oh, you want to tell me?
That's actually okay. So that's a good call though, because as a Final Fantasy mega fan and 7 fan specifically, I can see how you're like, I want to soak in every moment of this. I guess that makes sense for those of us who are a little bit more in a hurry to just get me to the details.
I just thought the flow was pretty well for that situation that never works. So
that's true. That's true. Overall, I still enjoyed myself. I still like watching the conferences. I think for me now, a lot of my enjoyment comes from interacting with a handful of friends who also happen to be watching it and just commenting, making jokes, guessing what the game is, reacting excitedly when it's a big game, So yeah, there's certainly announcements I wish had happened or it happened differently, or like Derek said, it wouldn't have leaked. But overall, I still really enjoy these couple of days of. It's almost like March Madness, where it's just basketball game after basketball game, and it's teams I've never heard of in some cases, but it's just fun to watch because it's this massive tournament, and over a couple of days you get nonstop basketball, and I feel like over a couple of days we get nonstop video game news, and it's just fun. So I still like it, although I do think some of these companies could do a little bit better. Guys, let's do better. Okay, let's be better.
I think they will. And I think they will get away from E3, unfortunately, because it's cheaper and
yeah, it is cheaper. Was it 2 or 3 years ago where Sony had the conference where they actually just pretty like they were only on stage. Someone was only on stage for like maybe altogether a minute or two.
They just did games.
Last year, it was just games. But
no, last year wasn't last year the weird like walk through these different buildings?
Not that one. Maybe the year before that. That's how every single one of these conferences should be. It should be like that.
Yeah, it should just have the main dude come out, intro everything. You can come out in like the middle and the end and just talk for a minute or two, but it should just be games.
And then allow all the like Nintendo does their treehouse. Then you can interview developers and get their insights, and they can talk about gameplay.
We don't need music. We don't need dancing. We don't need sports.
Ubisoft was. Can we agree that Ubisoft was probably the worst one? As bad as Bethesda was, I think Ubisoft was the worst.
It makes me sad to admit that they were the worst one.
And I love them. I've already said that. I love Ubisoft, but they were bad. That was bad.
It was bad. It was very bad.
By the way, if they want to show an accurate recreation of what Just Dance really looks like, it should just be overweight people awkwardly standing between the coffee table and their TV or couch, trying to do a dance move and tripping over their cat or something. Sure. That would be more accurate. But instead, they bring out these really fit young dancers, and it's like, all right, this is what people look like. Sure. Okay.
Just like Derek.
All right. Well, that does it for our E3 recap and reaction. I'm curious to hear what you all think as well. So head on over to our Facebook group or page or Twitter at Fathers of the Grind and let us know what you think. Okay, I care. All right, and Daniel might take a look too. Derek doesn't care.
I care.
Daniel cares.
It's about Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Tim, so it's talking on video games. Why would I want to listen to you all talk?
Can I spend another 10 minutes complaining about Final Fantasy 7 remake?
You can. Hang on. Let me and Derek hang up, and then you go ahead.
All right, as long as it's still recording, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll keep it on. That's fine.
Y'all have a good night. I'm leaving now.
Derek, thanks for staying up so late. You too, Daniel, and appreciate you guys taking time to talk E3. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye. Enjoy my F word.
Who is your daddy?
I am the father. You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?